Hi, I'm Andrea and welcome to Productive C#. In this video, I want to talk about a new features introduced in C# 7.3 that allows you to index fixed fields without requiring pinning. Here I have a solution. I want to describe what the code does, and then I'm going to refactor it using the new feature and show you how this can help you to write easier to understand, more compact and safe code. Okay, here you have a project. As you can see from right-click properties, this allows unsafe code. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm using a struct that contains a fixed fields inside. The fixed keywords allows you to create fixed size buffers. In this case, I'm creating a buffer of 10 elements called values. It contains 10 integers. And you need to use the unsafe keyword in order to use this syntax. And the fixed keyword is fairly useful when you need to deal with interop with data sources from other languages or platforms, for example, or if you need to do like write performance code. Okay, so you have this 10 array struct that contains a 10 elements array. Then I have a class called calculator that creates two instances of 10 arrays, one called numbers and one called squares. The constructor of this calculator class call the set method 10 times to initialize the two arrays. And as you can see in this set method, we are using the fixed statement in order to pin the two values arrays in memory while we do the initialization. The reason why we do that is because when you use fixed buffers, you need to make sure that the garbage collector does not relocate the variable while you are actually accessing it. So in order to do that, you need to use this fixed statement to pin a particular variable that you want to modify so that the garbage collector cannot relocate that variable for the duration of that fixed block. And obviously the fixed keyword can only be used in unsafe context. So you need to mark the method as unsafe if you want to do that. In order to make changes to a fixed field, up until now, you have to use this fixed statement. So basically you need to take a reference to the fixed field and save it into a pointer. So this is an integer pointer in C#, and then inside the fixed scope you can actually use the pointer to make changes to the particular variable. And if you look at the get method, you provide an index and then basically use the same syntax using fixed statements in order to access the particular values array and then to return a pair of integers, the first number and the square number. And then there is the program that creates a calculator, call the get for each element, and then it's printing the result. So let me run this program before we make any changes to see what's the result. As you can expect, it's printing the first 10 numbers and the square. Okay, now let me enable C# 7.3 in the project, and this will allow me to simplify these set and get methods, because now I'm able to index fixed fields without doing any pinning. What does this mean? That I don't need to use the fixed keyword, the fixed statements anymore to access those fields. So what I can do just do numbers dot values index equals index, and I can do squares dot values index equals index by index. So all of this is not necessary. Now I can do that directly. I don't need to use pointers anymore. I don't need to use fixed statements anymore. And the code looks a lot more similar to what the code looks if the values would be a safe array, right? And the same, I can do that here. I don't need this anymore. I can just return directly using the numbers.value here and using squares.values here. So I basically got rid of all the fixed statements and the pointers, and I make the code a lot more compact. If I build, it works, and I run, I basically get the same result. And this is actually a quite useful feature, especially if you are using a lot of unsafe context and a lot of fixed buffers. If you're a game developer, for example, or if you work a lot with other you need to interop a lot with other platforms. So it's a very neat feature. Most of developers don't use unsafe code, and I definitely don't recommend to use unsafe code unless you absolutely need it. But if you actually are using fixed buffers as fields inside structs, and all your code is probably full of fixed statements and pointers just to make changes to the fixed field. And this feature makes your code a lot simpler. You can just go across all your project and simplify your code significantly. So it's definitely a very welcome feature addition to C# 7.3 for those developers that need to deal with fixed buffers. And thank you very much for watching.